Now, more than 200 people who have been denied medicinal cannabis on the NHS are starting a campaign of disobedience by illegally growing their own. They plan to declare it to the authorities and ask not to be arrested. It's now 6 months since the drug was approved for medical use, but they say health trusts are refusing to allow it. Here's Inzamam Rashid.
In her 20s, Carly had a stroke and was diagnosed with a condition which left her in chronic pain all over her body.
I can be in complete searing, burning agony to the point where I'm literally screaming the house down in pain.
She discovered that medicinal cannabis was not only appropriate, but a more effective substance than other drugs she'd been prescribed.
It saved my life. After those 6 years of being bedbound and being really completely off my face on pharmaceutical drugs, cannabis has been the one thing that saved me from all of that and has given me my life back.
In December last year, Carly became part of medical history. She was the first person to be prescribed cannabis in the UK. But since the NHS won't provide the drug, going private costs. She's wiped all of her savings on private prescriptions, spending over £1,400 per month. Now, she's resorted to growing the drug at home, illegally.
The reason why I've gone back to grow my own is because I don't see that the NHS prescriptions are going to happen anytime soon. And I think we need to provide something in the way of legal exemption for those patients who are treating themselves really successfully and through no fault of their own are going to have to essentially wait years for the medical establishment here in this country to catch up.
But Carly isn't alone in growing the drug. Medicinal cannabis campaigners believe there's thousands of people in a similar situation. 6 months after the government legalised the use of medicinal cannabis, health trusts up and down the country are still refusing to allow it. And now, the illegal growing of the drug is causing a grey area for police forces across the UK.
That's really difficult for the police because it's still an offence to produce and cultivate cannabis. So they have to work out who's cultivating it for their own medicinal reasons and who's actually producing and cultivating it to supply it illegally. So for policing, it's really difficult to know who's doing the right things, who's doing the wrong things. It needs to be clarified.
The NHS claim there's lack of evidence to support prescribing the drug. That's why Carly has set up her own campaign group.
Ultimately, we need a total law change. We need to be thinking outside the box here. At the moment, I feel that there's things like my proposal and others that might set out a way in the interim to try and rebuild some of that trust and try and quash some of the fears around full decriminalisation.
When we contacted the Home Office, they reminded us that growing cannabis remains unlawful and carries a maximum sentence of 14 years. But Carly feels she's not a criminal, and for her and many others, life without medicinal cannabis would be unbearable. Inzamam Rashid, Sky News.